Welcome back to Graceful Art Designs. Today I'm going to be painting a red rose in a dark green vase, and the background I'm still to decide, but I decided to do it on a table that's at an angle for a change. Because often one does it on a round table or a square table or rectangular, and the table just covers the lower half. See the distinction between the table and the wall. It's all kind of blurry in the background. And so today I decided I wanted it to be at the lower end of well, not necessarily, but visibly at the lower end of the table, and the table going sideways. So the painting is more occupies the right side of the so it's a small space with the canvas. Because I see better in red on white, I decided to sketch it in with a red crayon. And now I'm going to just paint the background in white to start with, just to give myself somewhere to start from. And then I'll do the roses in a very deep shade of red, just an outline, and the leaves as well, and take it from there. So I won't continue videoing this background painting. You can see I'm using an angle brush just because it's the last brush I had, and because I feel that with this angle I'm able to get into places that I might have difficulty getting in with a filbert or even a straight brush. So that's what I'll do for the beginning. So unlike my other rose paintings where I have tended not to draw a sketch of rose with a pencil, just paint it with a brush, I specifically wanted an outline of these roses because they're red roses and they're just a little bit more difficult to do without a sketch, because I want to clearly show where the petals are folded over and the demarcation. And if you look at photos of red roses, you actually often can't see the distinction between the petals. They kind of almost blur into one. At least that's my vision. I mean, even looking now and painting the white in between the petals was really difficult. I couldn't see where I was going. So I've painted the wall this kind of off-white. It's a mixture of white and whatever was in the bottom of the oil jar. So it's like a slightly creamy white, and I like it. It's going to be many layers. But essentially I was deciding or debating whether to paint the background a dark green and then the vase a glass vase, or the background a white and the vase a dark green vase. So being an artist and squinting and not seeing what I'm doing half the time, I often just go on my gut feeling, and I haven't decided yet. So in the meantime, I'm just adding the white. Since I have so much white on my palette, I'm adding the white into the background of the table to see whether I will actually do a table even. That remains to be seen, whether it will just be a white wall and a small little perch table that the vase is perched on. So, I mean, the focus of the painting is really the red roses, and there will be tiny little white flowers in between, little sprigs of white flowers to add that contrast, because red without white, well, you need white. So yeah, I also wanted to draw the vase because I made it very straight with a ruler. I didn't want to take any chances and have a misshapen vase, as I sometimes get when I don't do a sketch. So, and I mean, it's not really critical half the time. Don't see that much of it, but I felt it was going to be important in this painting. Continuing with the red rose, I painted the whole background lightly in white, thinned out white with a bit of oil, and I left it to dry overnight. And so now I'm going to paint on. I'm going to start with painting the red rose in with a deep carmine red. At least that's what I hope it is, because there's no label left. And I'm going to do the outline. Sort of. This is the base of the rose. I'm approaching it differently to the way I did my other roses. I mean, I do love the background in that rose bouquet, and I'm thinking of adding it in here. But first, this time I want to do the rose first. Really put a lot of emphasis on the rose being exactly how I want it. And so I'm just doing the outline, and obviously there's more than one color even in a red rose. So this is just how I'm starting it out with this carmine. I've put 3 different reds on my palette, and the other one is Cad Red Deep and Cad Red. Well, it's actually not, it's Spiral Red, but it's similar to Cad Red Light. I like this red, I really like. And so I want this to be the base color of this rose, and then the other reds will be like the highlights, or where the petals fold over. And hopefully I'll get the look that I want that way. That's the outline, and I realized I couldn't fill in all the petals, because then I just wouldn't be able to distinguish one from the other. I need to use the lighter shades, but I wanted to use what I had on my brush first. Sometimes there are other considerations. So in the meantime, I'm going to do the outline of this one. And this one is slightly different because it's not so fully open. And then this one's very tiny. So each one's at a different stage. But I want them all to be beautiful. I thought of doing a bouquet of 12 red roses, but this canvas is a bit small, and then they would have ended up being so tiny. They wouldn't have been significant. So, and of course I still want to do my variegated roses, a whole bouquet of those. Because again, I thought those 2 there were so pretty. And a bouquet of soft violet and white roses. That would be nice. So, and then of course I have seen roses where there's just a lot of yellow in them coming from the inside, and it just looks so beautiful, kind of blending into the whole of the rose, making it kind of orange, yellow, orange, then pink. I want to do some of those as well. So a lot more roses to come. And this one has been left on the table because there were just too many roses for the vase. So it didn't fall down. It was just a perfect rose that had nowhere to go. So I'll bring you back when I change colours. Sometimes I think I'm recording and then I discover nothing was recorded, just a photo was taken. So this green is so touch sensitive. So I've added a lot more red, but now I've added the Cad Red Deep to distinguish between the petals. And now I'm onto the second rose. And I'm leaving a little edge between the petals, like here, where I'm going to put the Cad Red Light to make the highlights. And depending how they look, I might even add other highlights like a bit of yellow or a bit of pink. I'll see. But essentially I want to convey a look of deep red roses. So, it's difficult not to lose your way, to keep that separation. That's why I had to use a diagram for these red ones, especially because they are quite small. And I want them to look very delicate and refined. So that's how I'll continue, and I'll bring you back when there's more to see. So I've completed all the dark reds, and now I'm going to use the cad red light. And you can see the colour is very intense, and I had thought of making them a kind of translucent red roses, but I decided against it. I'll do that another time. And it's tricky now doing the third day now with while the paint is still wet, but I've been using very dry oil paint without much oil, only the oil initially used to cover to wet the brush. So I'll just start here with the outside petals and see how that makes a difference. So you can see it does add a little glint of redness there. I deliberately put my 3 reds in 3 different places on the canvas because otherwise I know I might mix them up. If you're painting, you're not really always watching every move you make. So this cad red light is a lovely red. So adding it in between. When I've done the other 2.